Thank you, Bruce Cotton, for that question. We have a couple questions I've got here related to sort of government and their links to entrepreneurship. And let's start with Brett. This is Global Entrepreneurship Week, so there's a lot of emphasis literally around the world, universities, different stakeholders, about how important entrepreneurship is. What role, if any, should, multiple choice, take federal level, state level, local level, whatever floats your boat at the moment. What role can they play, if any, in helping high growth entrepreneurship, or could they play in helping your business, whether it was back 10 years ago? Thoughts on that?
Well, I think just recently, Capitol Hill was talking about a tax credit for job creation. And they talked about it a lot, and at the end they really did nothing. And a congressman was in my office, and I said, look, if you give me $5,000 or X thousand, but make it real money per job that I create, I'll go create 50 tomorrow, no question whatsoever. And as a result, nothing happened. And the jobs credits that were passed really will not make any business, certainly an entrepreneur, step up to the plate and create new jobs. So it's difficult. I don't think entrepreneurs, and especially when they're young, I don't think they look often to government sources for funding, because it's really not the mentality. It's a much more stodgy, sort of controlled world, and it's a world we usually live on the outside of. So in the past, when we moved to Wilmington, the government was helpful in providing some tax credits. Oddly enough, the way they've drawn the borders here, the Cotton Exchange was equivalent to the worst corner in Harlem. And as a result, we got some great tax credits and a nice little latte in the morning. It was very beneficial for us. But besides that, I don't spend too much time waiting for a handout.
Robert?
I don't think about it that much. I think that the government is the layout of the pinball machine, and it is what it is, and you play the game, and that's that. And I'm not going to hire somebody because I'm getting a tax incentive. I'm going to hire somebody because I have a need in my organization, and it's servicing the customer. So I will take advantage of any incentive that the government gives, but it's not something I feel that's in my control, at least within the time window that I'm operating my business. And I think that my business partner has always said that, if you want two people to work together or two organizations to work together, you have to align the incentives. And you're never going to align the incentive of government with the private business sector. So, if the government got paid performance bonuses based upon my sales, maybe there's something we can do together. But that's not the case. So it's something that you have to navigate, and it's the society that we live in.
Earl, I'd like to add an extra layer to yours. What role can government play in innovation, if any?
Well, so is that a different question, or you want me to answer the other one, or both of them?
Let's do both.
All right, both of them. I don't want anything from the government, and except not for what we do. I wish they'd stop taking my tax money and bailing out these fat cats who have run irresponsible businesses like Goldman, B of A, all these companies why do they get all this support from the government? If they don't have a working business model, they should go out of business, just like we should. So I don't want anything from them except stop spending my tax dollars helping all the fat cats. So that's that. What was point two?
Okay. So that was quick. The second point was, so we're through that, but how can the government do anything proactive to spur on innovation?
Oh, I think it absolutely Jet Propulsion Labs, DARPA, most of the great the space program, most of the great technologies that exist that we all benefit from and that we've monetized through starting businesses, a lot of it came out of the federal government. A lot of the research, the hardcore research and things like that. So the government which it has done for many years, creating things like DARPA where they create this research to remain competitive, and then turn those technologies out so that innovators can take these nuggets of technology and create value and jobs in the U.S. market. I think the government plays a tremendous value in that sort of stuff, but all this, I almost said something insulting. Little governmental, hey, we'll give you this for that and all that. There's so much darn corruption and all that at the kind of localized level. I think it's silly. The government should stay out of it. If I were a government, I'd be thinking, hey, what can I do to attract entrepreneurism and job growth? But I'm not in the government, and so I don't care what they do.
Thought this was going to be a crowbar. Robert, let's talk a little bit about what it's like, because I think Brett and you are very much part of this region, not necessarily from a customer standpoint, but from here's your company, where Earl's in a little bit of a unique spot because more of a virtual-based company and stakeholders all over the place. But what is it like? What are the positives and negatives of growing a business here in southeastern North Carolina?
Well, you know, Wilmington is a great place to live, and the number one benefit of running a business in Wilmington, North Carolina is I get to go home and enjoy Wilmington. I didn't have that in Atlanta. You know, in Atlanta, I was living to work. In Wilmington, I work to live. And if you want to avoid that burnout, and you want to, you know, if you want to have a reason for why you work so hard every day, this is a great reason. You know, disadvantages. I mean, there are disadvantages. We're challenged to tap into the right skill set in terms of labor pool that we otherwise would be able to tap into in other markets. You know, I think that Wilmington not being, from a perception standpoint, on the map creates a sort of a perception we have to, you know, overcome in terms of, you know, who we are and whether a company that's headquartered in Portland should buy from a little, you know, company located in this little town, Wilmington, North Carolina. You know, from an advantage, one of the biggest advantages is, you know, I would not be sitting on this stage if this was New York City or Atlanta or, you know, Seattle. So, you know, there's a tight-knit business community that really tries to serve its own, and that is something that I think, you know, from a local economy standpoint, really helps the region.
Brett, your perspective on this?
I think Wilmington is unfortunately a great kept secret for businesses around the country. We don't actually service the Wilmington market. I mean, we have clients here, yes, but we have 12,000 clients nationwide, so the vast majority of our clients are scattered across the country. We'd have less than 0.1% of our clients in Wilmington. The benefit of that is that we can service cities like New York and LA, but we can service them from Wilmington, where our costs are much lower, where we have a fantastic quality of life, where we count as a business, much like you said. If my business was in New York City, where I have a competitor who works out of New York City, it's a horrible place to run a business. It's a beautiful city, but it costs a fortune. So there's tremendous advantages to building a business in Wilmington that doesn't necessarily serve Wilmington, but serves the country. And you can serve the country from Wilmington. In our industry, we've had no problem serving the entire nation from here, and there's never been a question of why would I do business with a little company from Wilmington. If anything, they just talk about the hurricanes. But I think it's a tremendous opportunity, and we need to attract more businesses that serve the nation but reside and headquarter here in Wilmington.